Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Hope we meet you well. We're casting our gaze over the country, so to say. We thought there's matter in Kaduna that we can talk about, and we're talking here about the insecurity. In fact, it's almost as if Kaduna is not quite the place to be right now, going by the news with the fact that bandits and all sorts of criminals are terrorizing, seemingly operating at will, the good citizens of Kaduna State. But we'll find out exactly what is going on, and perhaps that's a bit of an overstatement that Kaduna is not quite the place to be right now, because as you see, I have a couple of guests, and they don't look as if they're bedraggled or in any kind of the kind of situation that we're hearing. But then, I don't know, appearances can be deceptive. So let me introduce my guests quickly, please. Barrister Mark Jacob is the former Attorney General in Kaduna State. He joins us on this program. Good morning to you, Mr. Jacob, and thank you for coming.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. And as you can see, we also have with us Comrade Danjuma Sarki. Comrade Danjuma Sarki is a politician and he's a youth activist. Both of them are in Kaduna, where we're receiving them from remotely. Good morning to you, Comrade Sarki.
Good morning, Yori, and good morning, viewers.
Indeed. Thank you very much for making the time.
You're welcome.
Okay. Now, Mr. Jacob, let me quickly come to you because we've been hearing from for quite a bit now, weeks, and certainly, I think the Christian Association president in Kaduna has actually said that we need to be quite prayerful. We need to be quite prayerful about the situation. But I wanted to ask you how bad the situation actually is, because it is reported that the bandits seemingly can operate at will. But contrasting that with the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruan, who did an assessment tour of the place, of the Lagos-Ibadan, excuse me, I'm in the south here, Kaduna-Abuja Expressway. He gave the impression that perhaps the matter was being overstated. Tell me, please, what's your take on this state of security? Are people living in fear? Are they in terror? Are these bandits being able to strike at will? Your impression, sir?
First of all, I would want to state very clearly that I'm going to refer strictly to government publications. And from Government House, the publication I would like to refer to is the first quarter analysis on the security situation in Kaduna State from Government House. And that report had it that 360 people were killed in Kaduna in the first quarter of 2022. And that by June 2022, 645 people had been killed. So, and I'm saying this is official. This is not social media gist. This is official information from government quarters. Anybody who has any reason to be in Kaduna, who has been in Kaduna for any moment between January and now, knows that everybody lives a prayerful life. Whether you are in your house or you step out of your house, there is no certainty as to your safety. There is no certainty that you will go out to work and come back. There is no certainty that if you don't go out, you are safe. So, yes, the CAN chairman for Kaduna State was right in saying everybody should pray, because apparently we have reached maybe the end of the line to solely depend on God alone, because citizens have been left to depend on God. People have been pursued to their houses. People have been surrounded in their communities. Not that they went out on the highway, no, but in their houses. And they have been kidnapped. Some will be killed. Some will be taken until ransom is paid. And in fact, in that same first quarter, 1,399 people were kidnapped in Kaduna in the first quarter of 2022. And I'm talking, these are official figures from government. What kind of state will be, will be comfortable, will be safe with this kind of figures? And we are really talking of figures that government has decided to turn out.
Exactly. Official figures.
If you go to, if you go to the communities, I assure you, you will find more damaging figures than this. Because there are so many attacks that are unreported, there are so many attacks and kidnappings that are swept under the carpet. Communities within Kajuru and Chikun local governments will tell you, if you meet persons from there, they no longer even know how to sleep. People have permanently either relocated to public institutions like primary schools or churches for safety. Agriculture has dwindled. People's social life has completely been shattered and scattered. So, like I said, these are the official figures from government, and I don't want to go into the things that somebody will wake up tomorrow and say they were products of Mark Jacob. We started some advocacy in 2016 and 2017. I am sad to say that at that time, government refused to take heed. As at that time, government described some of us as troublemakers, as rabble-rousers, as bad losers of elections, that we lost elections because, yes, some of us are PDP members with no apology. But we are saying we are human beings first, and we are citizens who are entitled to the protection of government. The duty and responsibility, the core responsibility of government is to ensure that citizens, irrespective of their political coloration, tribe, or religion, are given safety and protection. Indeed. So we are not asking for anything above board when we say we demand and deserve to be protected by government.
Okay, okay, Mr. Jacob. I beg your pardon, Mr. Jacob. Thank you very much for that overview. Indeed, it's a grim picture that your words paint. Let me come to you, comrade. Comrade Danjuma Sarki, youth activist and politician. Now, you just heard, the overview that we just got there from the former Attorney General. Now, I just wanted to ask you, as far as the news is concerned, there are reports that because the first thing that comes to mind with the situation that's just been painted by Mr. Jacob is, so what are the authorities, what is security able to do about it? We can't just roll over and die. Well, it looks like the Nigerian army, through a formation they call Operation Thunderstrike, and the Nigeria police through an operation they call Operation Puff Adder, have been patrolling, intensifying patrols along the Lagos, you really must forgive me, along the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway, and with a view to securing not just it, but also the surrounding communities. How much, in your assessment, comrade, do you think these maneuvers are helping?
I want to tell you, Uncle Yori, the people plying Kaduna-Abuja Road are really traveling on the mercy of God. All these nickname or tagged operations of the security agencies, sometimes I see them as mere propaganda. They just look for a name that will just be catchy and tag it. But when you go on the road or in real life, you find out that there's actually no any solid security operation on ground. Abuja-Kaduna Road is a road that I know like the back of my palms. Is a road apply week in, week out, because I travel a lot to Kaduna, Abuja. I was in Abuja last week and I came back here. Even when the train was fully operational, I've always been very skeptical of joining the train. So I use more of the road. So I know that road very well, but I've always prayed and I continue to give God the gratitude for always ensuring that I'm safe. But I know I can tell you so many times, even last week, there was an attack on that road. The issue we have is that a lot of these attacks go on unreported. So anybody to tell you whether Operation Puff Ada or Operation Jangadi or whatever they call it, is just a way to just douse the tension in the minds of the commuters.
Is that
Not
your
really
view? Sorry to interrupt you. Is that your view of the assessment of the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Mr. Aruwan, who was on an assessment and says, contrary to reports, it's not as if the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway has become a ghost road that nobody plies. That was a physical inspection.
I don't expect anyone to believe any government official when it comes to security report in Kaduna, because the government have never taken the issue of security seriously. They've always used it as a propaganda tool. They always use it in order to deceive the people that everything is safe. No, I think if you want to know the true situation, you should interact with the commuters. And the commuters here, who are we talking about? First and foremost, the people that apply this road daily are the transporters. People that drive their vehicle for commercial purposes on that road. They them passengers and people like us who ply that road day in, day out. We are in a better position to tell you the experiences people go through on that road on a daily basis. But for government official to come and tell you that the road is safe and it's because he has a truck, a convoy of security and truckloads of security men who follow him on that road. And before they normally go on that road, they will normally do what they call mop-up in order to ensure that the road is safe and is secured for him to be on the on that road. So how would they claim to tell you that the road is unsafe?
Okay.
Or what people are saying is not true. So I want to tell you, please, as a journalist, and as people who are concerned about the well-being of Nigeria, don't take any position of government regarding the insecurity in that road or even in Kaduna State serious, because most times they use it for propaganda reasons. If you want to know the true situation, please get across to the drivers who ply that road every day. They will be the ones to tell you the true situation.
Indeed, I appreciate what you're saying. And I imagine that officials in Kaduna State government are also listening. Maybe if anybody wanted to call in, that would be more than welcome to give us their official perspective. Because we did get from Mr. Jacob, who had explained that, look, 360 killed. 360 persons were killed first quarter of 2022. And by June, the figure had risen to 1399, I believe. So when you look at it, and bearing in mind that around the world, not just in Nigeria, official figures, especially in matters like this, tend to be on the conservative side. So bad as it is at 360 in the first quarter and nearly doubling by June, it's a very, very sorry picture indeed. But back to you, Mr. Jacob. What can be done? Because there are suggestions, there are calls for a special sort of volunteer security outfit or self-help, because the authorities are doing all that they can. I've just told you about the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian police intensifying their patrols and operations. Do you share the opinion that that could help, that all hands being on deck might be the solution to this problem? Mr. Jacob?
Truly, yes, truly. Can you hear me now? Yes. My sincere assessment is that government must get serious about issues like this. The lives of people are being wasted, not chickens or fish.
I beg your pardon, sir. I got to interrupt you. What do you mean? I'm so sorry to interrupt you. When you say government must get serious about this kind of matter, I would imagine they're not doing anything else, that they must be having sleepless nights about it. What do you mean particularly?
The governor of Kaduna State was reported to have said that he knows, or the government knows, where the terrorists are, and that they even listen to their conversations. So why should anybody in government who knows where the terrorists that are terrorizing citizens wait for them to come to the main road before he encounters them, before he engages them?
Okay.
If truly the governor knows where these terrorists are, what stops government at all levels? Government has the monopoly of violence. Government has absolute control of the institutions that bear arms. Citizens who have attempted to bear arms have been arrested. Some of them have been prosecuted. I have represented some of them in court simply because they had then guns. Citizens have been pursued, hunted, and brought to jail because some just dared to speak up against the violence.
Okay, Mr. Jacob, one moment, please. Forgive me. I've got to bring in Mr. George in Lagos, who has called in. Good morning, Mr. George.
Yes.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to your guest.
Morning.
Uncle Yori, yesterday or a few days ago, you were discussing a topic that factors shaping 2023 elections, and you listed insecurity as one of them. I'm sorry to say this. It ought not to be, because the inaction of the president has brought it into focus. It ought not to be. Let me tell you why, Uncle Yori.
Okay.
Of recent, before the Senate went on recess, they threatened the president with impeachment if he does not do anything about insecurity. And a few days later, we saw soldiers chasing criminals into the forest, arresting them and killing them. But the question is, does he have to take an impeachment threat for the president to do that? That's why I said it ought not to be, but it has become a factor because of the way the government has been handling insecurity. I'm personally concerned because security was one of the principal subjects upon which the president was elected. He told us he will handle it. So why the way and the pattern it is being handled is not serious enough is what I cannot understand. The former Attorney General of Kaduna, I can hear the statement he's making that he believes the government is not serious about it because they know where the criminals are. That is true. They know where the criminals are. How does it concern us, ordinary citizens, when our leaders are telling us they know where the people who are killing us are? It is their responsibility to go and take care of them. They don't have to come and cry wolf before us. We elected them to protect us. That's where the issue lies. I'm appealing to the government to sustain this current onslaught on criminals. If they continue like this, within the next 2 months, people will not be talking about insecurity again. There had been insecurity. The insecurity we knew of is that of Boko Haram in the northeast. And I know the government, in fairness to them, have been doing well in that one. But the thing transformed to banditry and spread to other parts of the country without attention. If they continue in the way I have seen them starting now, in the next 2 months, Uncle Yori, people will stop talking about insecurity.
All right,
Good
then.
morning.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Mr. Jacob, Mr. Mark Jacob had said earlier that he feels government should, be a lot more serious about this. Well, I was supposing that government probably is serious about it, but right now government is not. And he said he's in danger of being labeled along with like-minded people as rabble-rousers, troublemakers, the words or the voice of the opposition because he is not in the ruling party in Kaduna State. But this is his own point of view that he can see what's going on and he's taking it from there. Especially when I wanted to know from Mr. Jacob, so what do you mean? How can government be more serious? He had, posited that, look, they tell us that we know where they are. We listen to their conversations. So that is an indication to him. So I wanted to ask you, sir, comrade, give me your thoughts on this whole matter, comrade Sarki. Give me your impression on whether you think individual, groups like Amotekun, Ebubuago, even something that has been set up in Plateau State, those kind of groupings are needed in Kaduna, and do you think they would make a difference?
First and foremost, there must be a sincerity of purpose on the part of government for whatever measure it will put in place to be effective. It's not all about setting up security formations or operations or what have you, expending public funds on the name of security without any result. Let me tell you, Uncle Yori, security, tackling security has to do a lot with intelligence gathering. I want to tell you today, go and meet a lot of victims of kidnappings on Abuja-Kaduna Road or anywhere in Kaduna to ask them whether, for once, government have ever invited them to hear their own side, to get some information, gather some intelligence on the experiences they passed through or how they were kidnapped on the road or where they were kidnapped. But most times you find that government only try to silence them. Uncle Yori, I have been following critically this issue of insecurity in Kaduna. And I think I was one of the first persons to make the issue of insecurity public in this state in 2017. On that same Abuja-Kaduna road, some of my friends and brothers were kidnapped in 2017, about 27 of them, while they were coming back from Abuja. I got the information through the driver of the vehicle. I went to the office of the Commissioner of Police then to report the issue, and they confirmed through the DPO on that route of Regina that yes, there was a kidnap on that area. And they said they were going to do something. Unfortunately, the next day when I posted on my Facebook and what have you, the journalists went to meet them to confirm the story. They denied it. And even the so-called government officials that we're talking about today came out that time and denied it and debunked the story. The kidnappers got in touch with me. We engaged in communication, we discussed, we negotiated. I went to that place, particularly Regina. I stayed on the road. They kept me on the road from 5 o'clock to 7 p.m. before they directed me through the bush. I went through the bush. I trekked from 7 o'clock till to 11 in the night before I got to where they were. I paid ransom, and they asked me to go back to a river. I went and stood there. They released 3 people to me that night.
That was back in 2017. That was back in 2017. Okay. Yes. One moment, please. One moment, please. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. One moment, because Emmanuel has been waiting to join on the program from. He's called in from Otukpo in Benue State. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
Good morning to your guest.
Yes, thank you.
This security problem we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be about insecurity anymore, because we know how we got here. Whether there is insecurity or no insecurity, my prayer is that let the election of 2023 hold as it ought to. You see, what's the big deal about these people? We allow them. It all boils down to what I feel is a personal opinion. And it's more like tolerance. Tolerance. If not, why should these people occupy up to this moment? And we are concentrating on Kaduna. They are taking all over the whole country. That is just the truth. Let us come to the realization that these people are everywhere now. I think some days before last week, There was what you discussed, but we could not call it. And it was on insecurity and threat to the president. There were two threats. The first threat was that they wanted to kidnap him and the other one to impeach him. Well, let me quickly deal with the issue of impeachment. That impeachment, considering the time that is remaining, is dead on arrival. So we shouldn't even be talking about that. It's not possible. They cannot impeach him. Even if they proceed, they can't do it. So that one is dead on arrival. But to impeach the president of the country, it is very possible and it is doable. And this is the truth. Because if there are security levels, even if there are 20 levels to go to the president, it is human beings that man those security. And what it takes is cooperation, relax, withdraw, look the other way. And before you know it, they will kidnap our president and take him away.
Well, as you know, the Minister of Information has called that very idea laughable. But it is what it is. The threat was made.
Kidnap him too. The Minister of Information can be easily kidnapped. This thing is, if the security people...
I hear you. I'm so sorry. I got to let go of you now because I have to take a break very, very shortly. And this is also to say that we would be, most obliged if anybody in the Kaduna State government wanted to call in and put some perspective on this, because we have people who are saying that of our two guests, one is saying that you can't overly rely on what government is putting out. They refer to it as propaganda. But one of our guests, in particular the former Attorney General in Kaduna State, has said that the figures that he is quoting is from government. The figures of 360 killed by the first quarter of this year, and arriving in June, the number is up to 645. That shows that, and as I was saying, these kind of estimates tend to be on the conservative side when coming from government anywhere in the world. So it might well be that those figures, there are higher instances that we are having to contend with. So we'll take a break now. When we come back, hopefully we'll get some input from the government in Kaduna State to balance this worrying story that we're covering at the moment. Our guest this morning from Kaduna remotely, Danjuma Sarki. He's a politician and youth activist, Comrade Danjuma Sarki, and Barrister Mark Jacobs, former Attorney General in Kaduna State. We've been speaking about the worsening security situation in Kaduna State. And when we were on break, all through that, Mazi Okorafor waited in order to join the conversation. Good morning to you, Mazi, and thank you for holding on.
Good morning, Sayo. Good morning, our guest.
Yes.
Sayo, they are our guest. What American government did last 2 weeks, it was very, very encouraging and very, very appetizing. I think Nigerian government, the military, security agents, they did such things over the weekend, based on the reports we gathered. Now, I'm suggesting if the federal government will allow the military, the action they took over the weekend, to ransack all the bush, both east, west, north, and south. The same pattern they use, if they can use it, I bet you, there's no way these terrorists will settle down in the bush. Because the actors, when Americans trapped down the successor of Osama bin Laden, what happened? The whole game plan, they changed. All of them started thinking about it because they use drones. So what does it take Nigeria? Go to Israel, all those things, go to America, all those things like this. Use drone and track all these people. You don't need to carry a fighter jet. With drone, I bet you, if Nigerian government can close their eyes, all those money they have budgeted, everything they give to the military, let them use it. Use that particular brand of drone, which Americans use to track down the second command of it. But the question is this. The way we are moving, the military tried over the weekend. My question is this. What are they waiting for? Because it is not, look at the farmers. Banditry launched their own last week. What was problem? They did that because of the farmers. The farmers can't go to farm. Look at the cost of Gare. The food for general public, very, very costly. So government should do what? All these are Motekon, anything you may call them. Those boys are ready to work. There are men and women that are ready to do what? To carry the head of the government should allow, as called on ICP, allow states, let the governors take their hand and buy these guns, this, what do they call it, this thunder with decree, and give to those who let them enter the push. Nobody has monopoly of violence. Everybody has to allow us people, allow the young boys to enter the push. Let us see who will enter the push. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okora, for calling in. And as I said before we went on break, we would greatly like to hear from an official, from the Kaduna State administration, just to hear the perspective. As I said, the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs has given his assessment, and he's not saying that the situation is indeed good, but he's saying that it is being exaggerated for effect. For instance, he's saying that the Kaduna-Abuja road is not a deserted road. The army, has something it calls the Operation Thunder Strike, and the police have Operation Puff Adder, with which they both are patrolling the Abuja-Kaduna highway, and with a view to securing it and surrounding our communities. But my guests this morning have, said that they are not unduly impressed. In fact, they think that it's much of a gimmick, which I don't imagine will be sitting well with the authorities. In the meantime, Ada in Jos has called in. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Yori and your guest. Ada calling from Jos State. Mr. Yori, I've said it on many platforms and your own platform. The way the government is going about this insecurity thing, I don't really like it, It's not all about Kaduna. It's all over the nation. So if they want to, the army is involved. Let them, I've said it without number, let them have a coordinated attack on those forests. Calm them. The governors have told us that they know where they are. They even told us that some of them are foreigners. So what are we talking about? You know where they are. You know that they are even foreigners, and then you allow them to be killing us. Then you now, because they threatened to impeach Mr. President. Is that the issue? The National Assembly is not even helping matters. Why can't they allow us have amend that constitution quickly? Do it as a state of emergency, and let them allow state police, so that the governors can also equip their own. Look at Benue now, governor. He said he wants to write to President Folari to allow the one he formed, the security outfit, bear the security arms. Why should we have that kind of centralized security thing? That is the problem we're having in Nigeria. Now they will form these outfits. They cannot allow them to bear sophisticated weapons, and we don't have enough police on ground to even be working with them. Look at what Amotekun is doing in the West. You see how they've intercepted more than going to 400 in just 1 week. Invaders. What are we talking about? Then you're coming the forest in Abuja and the rest of them. And I said simultaneously, the whole nation, all the forest. Why should people be allowed to live in the forest? They tell when the Southwest started their own, from the government itself, seat of power, they told us that anybody can live anywhere. That they have freedom of movement, freedom of what and what. What are we talking about? Why this conflicting this thing? Why? Every day we'll be killing people just like no life. No life has no value in Nigeria. Every day, every single day. I can't understand it, honestly. It's not funny at all.
Thank you very much for calling in. Thank you for calling in, Ada. And, the frustration that, your voice depicts is really the situation with, a lot of people. It reminds me of a Johnny Nash song, there are more questions than answers. There are questions and there are not enough answers. It's problematic that it has been said from official quarters that we know them, we know where they are. Well, why not able to take the next step? So coming back to you, Barrister Jacob, when you said government needs to be a lot more serious and sincere against the backdrop of commentary like that, it's different from when you're being terrorized by faceless, knownless. Well, they are still faceless, I imagine. But there was a time, as you know, when the authorities in Kaduna were engaging with these people before the governor put his foot down and said, never again. That is after he had been betrayed by them. Remember, they didn't, hold their end. Going back to this whole matter of what you think government can do, let's explore that a bit more. Because if you were governor, luckily you're in politics. what else would you do? Because we've been told that the way they fight, they hit and run, they strike and run, they operate like guerrillas. And so if they are bent on causing chaos, there's very little that can be done unless the fundamental aspect of this whole wahala can be addressed.
Absolutely, Yori. The government of Kaduna State woke up maybe late in the day. Like I said, from 2014, 2015, 2016, up to 2017, when we raised alarm about the incessant happenings, especially in southern Kaduna, the government had its own narrative that it insisted on pushing around the globe. And it kept saying that it was a communal or religious fight. So, at different moments, government officials would deny the number of casualties. Government, particularly the governor himself, will threaten religious leaders like the bishops, who said they were responsible for the killings because they are getting foreign aid from foreign organizations when their people are killed and when churches are attacked. He said he was going to prosecute church leaders that they have identified who are benefiting from the killings. Our traditional rulers were messed up. All leaders of thought that could intervene in anything were told to their face that they were the percussors and the persons responsible for the killings. If at the time we raised alarm, government had been as proactive as it now wanted to be when it now said enough is enough. We are not going to discuss with bandits or terrorists. We're going to kill them. Government dilly-dallied until the thing spread. Went to Benungwari, went to Giwa, went to Igabi. Zaria environments were attacked. People in Shika, up to this moment, are living in fear. Igabi, local government, several communities have been sacked. People have been made hostages. And on the highways from Zaria to Kaduna, it's not safe too.
Okay,
so
let me bring in Chidi, who's calling in from Kaduna, from Kafanchan. Good morning, Chidi.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Barrister Mark Jacob. And their other guests.
Yeah, Danjuma, Sarki.
As a matter of fact, the security implication in Kaduna State is indeed a grim one at that. And I've been listening with keen interest the discussion that the trio of you are making. Now it is at the doorstep of the government to take a step further to really find out where this quantum of insecurity is coming from and the very best way to handle it, because it is really causing a situation where the security personnel themselves are not left out. Indeed, nobody is safe. No road is safe. No household, either in Kaduna, Zaria, Kafanchan, and in fact elsewhere in Kaduna State, is no longer safe. The road is not safe. The railways are not safe. And in fact, there is no security. I know it is not only here in Kaduna State, but I want the government at all levels and every other stakeholder to put all their hands together, put resources together, do what is needful in order to stem this insecurity. Thank you very much, and God bless Nigeria. Thank
you very much, Chidi, for calling in. Just to say here, like yesterday, we cut away from the program, had to go for a live event in Port Harcourt. We'll be doing the same, but we're still here. As soon as they are ready in Kaduna, we will cut away, and that means that Nigerian viewers might not be seeing us, will not be seeing us, but diaspora will continue. And in case you have one of those giant dishes, then you could also be joining us. I don't know how Mazi Okorafor does it. Sometimes when we're on live, you hear Mazi Okorafor calling in. Okay, but back to our guests. Comrade Danjuma Sarki and Barrister Mark Jacob. To you, Danjuma, it's not a hopeless situation, I imagine. No, that otherwise we can't be hopeless. But I've heard that you are critical. In fact, you are critical, both of you are critical of the efforts and indeed the attitude, indeed, dare I say it, the sincerity of government. Now, that's a heavy charge, Danjuma. Why would you go as far as, allege that government is not being sincere in its prosecution of this war against bandits?
Uncle Yori, right from yesterday when I heard that you will be bringing a government official to join us on this discussion, I know that it will be very difficult for any government official to agree to join. Because just like I said, they are not serious. They take these issues with kid gloves. They just believe it's for you to just come to the media and twist this real situation on ground, and you think everybody should clap for you and take it hook, line, and sinker. What government have been doing in Kaduna State, every keen watcher and observer of happening in Kaduna State knows that the government is actually not serious. The government is only out to control the narrative. The government is only out to put its own agenda the way it wants it to be viewed and perceived by the people.
Which
the government are only bent on intimidating and silencing the people.
You got it right in that part where you said you thought there might be a difficulty because, believe me, we tried. We do want to hear from the government authorities there.
We know them. We know them very well. We are together with them on a daily basis. So what I'm trying to say here, Uncle Yori, whenever a government is doing well, the citizens will applaud them. The citizens are not senseless. Citizens are responsible people. There's no how you'll be doing well or you'll be taking practical steps to address some of the challenges that citizens encounter every day. And you think majority of the citizens will not applaud you. Okay? And just like I was saying, we expect to see government embarked on a lot of intelligence gathering to take proactive steps to curb this situation. Today, we're talking about drones as one of the major technologies that have been introduced to the security system. In Kaduna State here, the purchase of drone and usage of drone are mere propaganda. They have installed this drone in some places in the city center. But for once, we have never seen what that drone installation procurement have ever achieved. Likewise, today, what stops government in fabricating a drone that is like a bird that you can send to the bushes to go and give you precise locations of these bandits? You go around, surround them, kill those you can kill, arrest those you can arrest, and nip this thing in the bud.
I hear you, sir.
Every day.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But if you know it, I'm wagering that the government people also know it, perhaps even better. So I understand what you're saying. But in the meantime, Mr. Ade in the UK has called in, and I've been holding on for a while because I wanted you to land. Good morning to you, Mr. Ade.
Morning, Dr. Yori. You hold me on for 30 minutes. That's all right. It's for Nigeria, my country. My comment about this security in Nigeria is we don't need any intelligence anymore. Who are kidnapped, released, is wanted to where they are. Babajide Otoju normally tell us where they are, even mention their name. So what intelligence are you looking for? It's a business. People are using this thing for business. Life of human being. Look at my state, Ondo State. Trailer in less than 1 week. People hiding under cow, guns, coming to Ondo. What are they going to do? They have mission to kill our people because of cow. I'm just praying that government should leave quickly. And a third PDP, APC, none of them will win. Third party will win. I'm APC, but I don't want them to win. Third party will win in Nigeria by the grace of God and clear all these security issues. What intelligence? They are just joking in people's lives. God bless Nigeria, my country.
Well, thank you very much indeed. A lot will say amen to your prayer. Many people, well, you see, there is, unfortunately, in the midst of our travels, some sort of a national hobby, Nigeria bashing. And so when people are angry, when they're frustrated, they do say, the kind of things that really you need the authorities to come up and explain and enlighten and provide more information. But here my guests are alleging that largely when they do speak is for propaganda purposes and that they indeed are more interested in controlling the narrative. Well, as Comrade Danjuma Sarki has sort of guessed, we haven't been successful in getting officials from Kaduna State to talk to us because we want to sort of touch base with this subject matter from all around the country. People want to know. Kaduna State is a great city. It's a metropolitan city. People have been going to Kaduna. Now, as we are hearing, it's very difficult to sleep in Kaduna now. The bandits are striking at will. Senator Shehu Sani, who exactly is not, if you want to put it that way, not exactly a darling of the governor. They have always been at odds. Well, they've been at odds a lot. He says, I was speaking about this 3 weeks ago, and I was being branded as a troublemaker as always, and that he doesn't really worry anymore about those kind of things. In fact, from the point of view of Senator, the senator, I think I saw it that he was saying that this is what I was talking about 3 weeks ago. Now everybody else is talking about it, but it is what it is. The good people of Kaduna State must be exasperated with all of this. And I just don't know. We've talked about sincerity of purpose. Far be it from me to be editorializing, but government, I would imagine, cannot be playing games with this. It might be that they're overwhelmed. It might be that they're overwhelmed by the matter, but I don't know. In sincerity of purpose, the most important thing, I'd also called in from Jos, who was saying that, so what are we talking about? We know. I beg your pardon, somebody's saying something to me. Anyway. Oh, dear. I don't know whether to continue, but somebody just said something into my ear. So, but what we're saying now is that it's a worrisome situation in Kaduna. My guests have exemplified it. Comrade Danjuma Sarki was telling us it was very bad in 2017, and it's little improved now. And Barrister Mark Jacob is saying that a lot more needs to be done. He wishes people would be sincere. And we were talking about the drones and the technology, and if we citizens, ordinary citizens, know it, I imagine that the professionals in governance, in government, would know a lot more about it. So until we hear from them in Kaduna, so we can balance this story, Danjuma it was who was saying that ask regular people, ask travelers. They will give you a graphic picture of what's going on, contrary to, I imagine, what the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruan, has been reported as saying. So, well, gentlemen, I just want to thank you very much. I don't know how much we got out of this apart from the sure knowledge that Kaduna is not as peaceful as it has the reputation of having been way back in the past. So I want to thank you very much for coming along to sort of underline the matter. Meanwhile, the other part of the job is for us to get hold of an official commentary on all of this. The situation is not good at all. In fact, it is bad. And that might be that might be part of the reason why government is a bit reticent. I don't know. That was just speculation on my part. We'll continue our efforts. We need to hear from the government in Kaduna. How do you reassure the people that this is not an end game and there's no solution in sight? So I want to just thank you very much, Barrister Mark Jacob, former Attorney General in Kaduna State, for coming on the program and giving us your insight. And also to thank you, Comrade Danjuma Sarki, politician and youth activist. Thank you, gentlemen, for
Thank you very much, Uncle Yori,
giving us this snapshot of what's going on in Kaduna State security-wise. Okay, then. So that's our program today, then. I think we made it through without having to cut away. Yippee. So see you tomorrow, God willing. In the meantime, stay well.